So at the moment we've got pump armour in there, and that's keeping everything lubricated. Obviously it's been sat here since Christmas, been sat there for about 5 or 6 weeks now. Just not doing anything, but I'm gonna turn it on now. There it goes, yeah. So at the moment we are in prime. So if you look at the switch here, right, it's got a picture of a spray gun on it, so it's pretty obvious which way it's in. But if you ever get confused about which way it's in, just watch which way it's facing. So if it's facing that way, it's facing towards the hose almost. Yeah, so that's in spray. If I go down that way, it's aiming towards this pipe, which is, I call it the dump, right? It's called a recirculation pipe or recirculation valve, and recirculates whatever's in there, yeah? So what we're doing at the moment is trying to get the pump armour out of the machine. So what I'll do is I'll turn that up, like so. Okay, so that vibration you hear, that chung, 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 is generally the hopper vibration with water in it. It won't do it when there's paint in there, but generally you'll see this like vibration in the bottom of the hopper when you're doing it. You hear it. When you've got the suction pipe on, it won't do it anymore. When you've got the paint in there, it won't do it anymore. Generally get that with the hopper because the vibration. All of the sprayers do it. So what I do then is, because it's had pump armour in it, I would literally just get a little bit of water, not a lot, a little pot of water, like so, and I'll just pour that into my hopper, and I'll just run that through, clean anything out. The pump armour, you can reuse it if you want to. It's optional, but for me, it's cheap as chips. I will just put new stuff in each time. The ratio is 4 litres of 200 mil of pump armour to 4 litres of water as your ratio, okay? So that is your mix into a 4 litre bottle. Obviously you can see how much was in the bottom of there. You don't need to put 4 litres in there, but that is your ratio. So 200 mil of pump conditioner to 4 litres of water as your ratio, yeah? And then you can keep adding that bottle in.
So that's just to clean it out every time?
It just keeps it lubricated, right? So like it's what you leave in the pump. It's a pump conditioner. It doesn't go through the hose, but it's also got an antifreeze in there as well. So if you put it in the van this winter, it'll stop the pump freezing, but it only works at that point if it's neat. So winter temperatures, freezing cold, leaving it in the van, pump armour, pump conditioner, whatever you want to call it, goes in neat. In summer and spring months, 200 mil to 4 litres of water. Yeah? And then just keep it into the pump. Basically, you just circulate it through and then turn it off the pump. Yeah, it's pump conditioner, pump armour. It's for the pump, not the hose. You can run it through your lines if you want to. So say that you're going to be, again, like in the freezing cold, leaving it in the van, or you leave it on the site that's going to freeze. Not that I would leave it on site in the freezing cold, but if you were going to, I'd run some through the lines as well, because obviously, last thing you want to do is come into work on Monday morning and all things seized up. So, how the pump works, right, is the airless pump is doing this, yeah? Going down, pulling up, putting the paint, obviously, from the hopper into the wet end section, which would be into there. So that's what you're looking at top of that, yeah? There's 2 sets of packings. You've got a bottom packing and a top set of packings. Yeah, as they're moving, one's cleaning off the piston, one's moving over like this, yeah? And as it's doing it, right? So as that paint pulls up into the wet end, it pushes down and comes out of those holes. You can only go one direction, and that is towards the hose. So depending which way you're putting that in, is which way that paint will go, right? Okay? So sometimes when you start up in the morning, you'll be like that, and nothing will be coming out of there, and you're like, oh. And what people do is they just stand there like that, they start scratching their head. Yeah, the whole time you're doing that, the pump's burning, right? So it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and that, if you fill the piston, if you pass that around, that is the consequence of that running too long. 10-15 seconds, it ain't gonna kill anybody, but if that keeps running over and over and over again, then you're gonna end up scratching the piston. And once you put the scratches into it, the indents, then what can happen is the paint can slip past the packing sets and start flying out the front of the machine here, and then you've done your packings and pistons straight away. If nothing's coming out of there, take a rubber mallet, yeah, and just tap it on the front of the wet end there, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I find, a little hammer.
And then it will generally start going, rubber hammer, right? Rubber hammer. Don't go in with a bloody sledgehammer. No, you don't have to use a sledgehammer. Rubber hammer will do it. Couple of taps, it generally, one of the ball bearings is stuck, yeah? And the ball release and it'll start going, yeah? But where the balls are is, ball number 1 is in here. So as you're looking at that wet end here, yeah? You'll see the ball in there. Obviously inside the cage, take the cage out, yeah? and you can hear the ball. Yeah, that's where it is. So you take that section out. That's your first ball. The second ball is up inside the machine. So as you lean that machine back, you'll see the second ball is inside the end of the piston. So listen, yeah, that's where it is. It's in there. What's actually happening is, imagine this, because I want you to understand how the pump works, right? So as that comes up, that piston, that bottom ball pulls up into the cage and lets the paint into the wet end section. As it comes back down again, the bottom ball closes, and then this one in here opens and then lets the paint out of the holes, and then it can only go one direction, that is down the hose. So if one of those balls is obstructed with something, yeah, then what's actually happening is it doesn't know where to go, and it can't go anywhere. So it might come out a little bit, or sometimes the gauge might be jumping about, something's stuck. I'd say 9 times out of 10, that is always the problem. Yeah, one of the balls. But if you keep running the machine, again, you're burning out the pump. Yeah, so you don't want to be doing that. Another thing that can happen, that's not very common but can happen, is that something gets stuck in the switch. Right, so basically your switch that's going between prime and spray, there's like obviously the hole in there, it's redirected which way it's going. Sometimes you get like a bit of skin off the paint, or I've had a blade of grass stuck in there before where it's been spraying outside. It gets stuck in the switch, and then what you'll find is that gauge just goes do-do-do-do-do-do. So even when it's in prime, yeah, that shouldn't be building pressure because there's no pressure to be built. That gauge could be jumping about all over the place. Again, something can be stuck in the switch. So what you do, you take your screwdriver, just pop your little pin out there. You'll see like a little metal pin. Pop that down, that front cover will come off. You can actually get a adjustable spanner and take off the prime switch. Yeah, take it out, clean out your bits, and then put it back in again. But generally, those two are mainly what it'd be. Yeah, 9 times out of 10 is the ball bearings. Yeah, and then that other 1% would probably be this. Yeah, and if you've done all that and it's still not working, then it'd be, again, it's all troubleshooting to get to that point. But very rare that it's anything else. Yeah, electrics and motor and gearing, rare. Like I'm talking so rare, it's ridiculously rare. Like for the gearing to go in that, and the gearing and the electrics, like is so ridiculously rare. Yeah, I think in the servicing world, I've done like 2 in my whole life. But it can happen, but very rare. Everything goes back on with a spanner then, clean it all up. Again, what I'll do is I'll show you a video after lunch of me taking each part of that out. And you'll see, and when you put it back together, then you've got a video, you can go, right, so you've got your cage, and you've got your ball bearing, and you've got your seals, and so on, and all back together again. Your housing goes back in, you'll know which way it goes back in together. Very easy, yeah, very easy to use. But if you keep, honestly, the amount of times I have this conversation with the guys, and then they go on site, and they just start running the pump, and they just come out there, and they go, well, I can't remember what he said now, and then it's bang. So it's like, just engrave that into your mind, that if that's not running, something's blocked, yeah, just stop. So imagine that you're coming back to the job tomorrow, just leave some water in there, yeah? As long as that hopper's not dry, obviously it comes with the suction pipe, yeah? So as long as something's, because when you clean out the suction pipe, there's always going to be water in the machine anyway, yeah? The only time I put pump armour in is for leaving it for like more than 2 or 3 days, and then you're going to be coming back to it next week or the weekend. I put some pump armour in it to keep the pump lubricated. But like if I was coming back tomorrow, which we are going to be, that would be just left water in there. It won't freeze in there because it's not obviously cold enough to freeze through here. In the mornings, when you're running that pump armour, that water through the pump, the good thing about having the water or the pump armour in there is you're instantly going to know if it's got a block. So if you haven't got anything in there, you just go, right, 6 litres of paint, yeah, all through the wet end, block. You're going to take that off the hopper. There's paint everywhere. So like you're better off finding out now than you are finding out later on. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you can be spraying and one of those balls can get stuck, and then you've got to tip the machine up with the hopper on there or get your pipe out. It's quite messy, but again, like strain your paints, make sure you're keeping everything clean. Yeah, make sure your filters are all changed regularly, and then you won't have these problems. Do you know what I mean? Really, and if you do get it, it's just sod's law then at that point. But try everything not to get those problems. It's a very simple pump, very simple way it works. But again, you need to look after your parts, keep everything clean. Otherwise, you're literally hitting your head against a brick wall. Yeah, because like I said, like the hopper, you'll see that's very clean inside there. Some guys leave the lids off and just fill it with paint, and then all the hopper dries with paint all outside. All those bits fall into the pot. I mean, you're just literally hitting against a brick wall. So for me, it's put the lid back on the hopper, make sure the hopper's clean, make sure everything is kept sparkling. All your threads are clean when they go back on, so your manifold filter, and so on. So obviously you've got a filter here, and you've got one in the gun handle, yeah? they're always being cleaned between the use, all the time. Yeah, because you'll see if it gets blocked bad, like you can spend 20 minutes, half an hour trying to sort it out, and it's just like not working. So with my tips, what I like to do is B&M job. Yeah, I keep them in pump armour, but it's got a little basket there. Look, it drains all your tips away. Yeah, £2.50. You can see just the pump armour. Yeah, just leave them in pump armour. Yeah. Basically, it's so clean, because when you clean the tips out, you can think, that's clean, chuck it in your box, and then there's a bit of shit in there and it just dries. So what I would say is just chuck them in there, and then it just stops them from drying out, really. Yeah, keeps it clean. But again, you can buy tip cleaners, these, again, it's gimmicky things, yeah, and when you can just buy a £2 basket from B&M and they do exactly the same job, really. It's never a way a company's making money out of you, it's just making something that doesn't really have it's simple. So the tips on the kitchen here, I'm going to be using a 310, so that gives you a 10 orifice and a 6-inch fan. So I'll explain how the numbers work on that. So if you put your number over the 10, yeah, and then times the first number by 2, that gives you the fan width, which is 6 inches. Yeah. So that 310, then second number is the orifice, is the size of the hole that the paint's going through. So another way to work it out is the 3 actually is 30 degrees. That's what it stands for. So it gives you 30 degrees, 6 inches. Yeah. So 30 degrees, 10 orifice, whole size. Yeah. I would say woodwork, always 10 for me. Yeah. I don't piss about anything else, always 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Yeah. You can get 08s and 07s and 06s, but like, for me, that's like lacquering. I don't like it 08s. I think they get blocked quite a lot. Some people like them. Personal preference at that point. For me, the 10 is a good all-round number for all my woodwork, all my kitchens, all my furniture, all my other bits. Yeah, 10, 10, 10 for the airless. If you're using air assisted, you might go down to like an 09. Yeah, but 10 for the airless. Yeah. So obviously you've got other tips in there, but they're for like bigger jobs. So say you had some doors, right, and they were like big MDF doors, panels, and you had like 100 of them to do, right? Then I might change that to a 410. Yeah, so 8-inch fan, but it's still a 10 orifice. Yeah, so that first number will always represent ×2 size of fan. Yeah, but for what you're doing, guys, in the woodwork side in here, and in on site, I would say go with the 10. Try an 08, you might like it. It's personal preference. I like the 10. That's it, yeah. But I wouldn't go any lower than the 08, and I wouldn't go above the 10 in a way. Some of the primers, I might go to a 312, yeah, because if they're thick, but it would always be mostly 10s for me.
Tips the same as the Greco tips?
Sorry, when you talk that, it sounded like someone was talking from over there. Really weird. Honestly, my ear just picked up. I was like, where did you come from?
Are them tips the same as the Greco tips you use there?
These are the Tritec tips, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So before you start spraying in the morning, you want to put in your pump lube. Put your lube in the morning into your piston, and that is going to keep everything lubricated. So basically where that sits will be inside the machine there. That will be going into there. Yeah. Yeah. Just keeps dripping. So it goes all around that sill there, and then it just keeps that pump lubricated. So once a day, right, that is. I had one of my students that rang me when he was on holiday and said, Jamie, I'm just wondering, is it every day or just when you use it? I said, just when you use it, mate. He said, that makes more sense. I said, why is that? He said, because I've got my neighbour feeding the cats and oiling the pump for me. I was like, that's mental. So it's quite funny, really, because I thought he was joking. He's like, no, I'm actually being serious. I was like, okay. so I have to make that pretty clear, because some people just don't understand when I say every day when you use it, not every day when it's sat in the garage. So you don't have to get Doris from next door to oil your pump for you, right? So literally over the top of the piston there, look, and just a couple of squirts. 1, 2, 3. I do about 3 squirts over the piston. That's it. Little squeezes. Yeah. That's going to keep that pump lubricated. That's just moving up and down and stop any paint sticking to it. And that's it, really. Now that that's all running, yeah, I know the pump's clear. I've checked my ball bearings, yeah, and now we can add into the paint, and then away we go. Right, so we're going to do that now. Bit boring colour though, isn't it? It's white. So starting the pump, yeah, and re-priming now. So we have to pour the paint through the piston into the wet end and then prime the pump, yeah? So what I'll do is I'll switch that down into the prime position, that switch, yeah? So that's aiming downwards now, and that's going towards this, yeah? And then we're going to turn the pump back up. Basically, we'll just wait until we see the paint. Off it goes, yeah? Once the paint's going through, I'll chuck that either back into the hopper or leave it into that bucket. And then with the gun, what I would say is when you're putting the trigger, yeah, you want to keep that on when you're about to put it into the spray position. So once it starts pressurizing, some people think they see the paint, they go, oh, and then it goes, the pump goes, do, 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 and then you go, oh, it wasn't, and then you put it again and it just kaboom, yeah? So the best thing to do is, with these guns, is pull the trigger all the way back, slip the safety on the gun forward, and then that trigger will stay on the whole time. Aim it down the side of the bucket, and then turn it up, yeah? And then you've got free hands then to do what you want. Watch it as it's going through, look. You'll see it's just water at the moment, because it's what was left in there last time. Once you see the paint, turn it off, and what I would always generally do is just take that back off there, look. Then come over to stop it dripping and go back into the paint, right? And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that I'm just spraying paint and not water. So what I'll do is I'll just run that for about 10 seconds, just back into it itself. And off it goes. Yeah, and that'll do. So before I move that, take that safety back off. Job's good. Obviously, when you're spraying, guys, and you're changing tips around, there's a safety on the gun. Pull the trigger back, slip your safety all the way back. That's going to stop you pulling that trigger. Obviously, the last thing you want to do is inject yourself with paint. There's a guy in America actually grabbed a hose, paint went in his hand, shot in the back of his neck. Do you know what I mean? So, very dangerous. Yes, when you're spraying. Make sure that your safety's on when you're changing anything around, especially if the pressure, if you're running pressures like 2,500 psi, very, very dangerous. So with the tip guard, what you do is you take your tip guard and your tip, and what I would suggest doing first is just slot your tip into the guard first. It can only go in one way, and that is front ways with the fatter edge at the front. Yeah, that's how it would sit inside the guard. Yeah, it can only go in one direction, right? Like the band. Safety on the gun. Yeah, what I always do is I keep my hand behind the trigger, and I put my finger on that to make sure it stays on. Yeah, just out of habit. The reason I do that as well is because when I am doing it sometimes is you forget to put the safety on the gun, you get a bit confident, yeah, your hand's behind the trigger, and you're just automatically in this position, yeah. The tip's sideways, so the paint's not going to come out anywhere. I'm always doing these things to ensure that if I don't put that on, then nothing's going to happen to me. But again, it's as you go on for spraying, you'll get, I would say you're in a rush, you know, human error, you'll forget to put the safety on. Yeah, so if you get into these practice and put your hand on the trigger, keeping the tip sideways, and putting all these things, you won't forget everything. Right. Screw the tip on like so, because the tip's sideways, nice, my hand's nice and out the way there. I'll get into that position where I'm nice and tight, yeah. I'll flick it forward, look, and then I'm in spray now, forward, yeah. And then I can take my safety off the gun, and I'm ready to go, yeah. And obviously what I'm going to be doing now is setting my pressure of the machine to test it onto my paper. So
that primer, you use that neat.
So all my paint is always neat. Yeah, yeah. So if you spray with our paints, yeah, and use decent paints, not just ours, but like good paint, we've made a good paint, yeah, you won't need to fit it.
And that's your go-to primer there?
This is our brand.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like, yeah, 3-year process, mate. So you'll see, mate, like the top coat is fucking beautiful, man. Like it's a good paint, honestly. Like it's the best I've used anyway. And I've been doing it a long time. But it's been a slug to get it right, put it that way. There's a lot of mistakes. So, so we are bringing out our own colours as well, but we can match anything at this point now. Any colour can be matched. Yeah, if there's something we can't match, we can match it if you send the sample in. But it's very rare that you have to do that. Most things we've got. Yeah.
What's
so.
the price of that?
Anna.
We've literally just launched it, so yeah, but I can send you all.
So this is the first time it's gone in this tin. It's the first time I've seen it.
We're doing a
You do bigger barrels of it then as well, like that?
Yeah, so basically, with the other brands, so this is where they get you, right? You can only buy it in 5 litres. We sell it in litres as well as 5 litres. So what you'll find is for kitchens, you go 5 and that an extra little bit, the next tin always goes in that next tin. So now you can buy 6 instead of buying 10. Do you know what I mean? So we're slightly more expensive, like in terms of like, I think it works about 12 quid more expensive than 5 litres, but you actually say, because you're buying smaller batches then at that point. So, but it's very good paint. Like I said, it dries really quick, it hangs well, it doesn't run very easy. It's got all the stuff in there to make it really sprayable. Like I'm talking like 1200 psi, freezing cold out of the van, mate, spray it like water. Yeah. What I'll do is grab a hand masker in a minute and just put some paper on the wall there. Hello, testing. Right, so basically what we're going to be doing is setting up our pressures and working out what pressure we need to spray out, basically. So what you do generally is put some paper up on the wall and then take your tip, put your tip in, put your paint in, obviously, set your pressures, then start working upwards. Yeah, I wouldn't start under 1000 psi. Yeah, I honestly don't think anything sprays under 1000 psi. It'd be like coming out like syrup. So I would always start a grand. Do you mean every time? Okay. So what I'll do is turn the pressure up. Look. Yeah, so that's on 1000 psi now. Okay. Sorry, the camera's just there, so. So I was just saying then, I'd always start 1000 psi minimum. Yeah, don't start under that. Nothing really sprays under 1000 psi, right? So the good thing about these sprayers, yeah, it's got a thing called smart technology on it. You know, when the pressure's like dum 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 dum. So basically, it makes the board more sensitive. So with the GX21, you'll see it like this. So you're losing like 300-400 psi every time you pull the trigger. So if you're spraying at 1000, you're probably spraying like 800. Right. Yeah, but with this, you'll see that dial go dum 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 dum. It's called smart technology. I've gone somewhere here. So the best thing to do is sort your hose out before you put pressure into it. No, that's going to annoy me, sorry. No, it's gone somewhere, isn't it? There we go. So I put a 7.5 metre hose on this, yeah, because I'm only working from here to there. So you can change the hoses around if you want to, yeah. It comes with a 15 metre standard, but they're not expensive, the hoses. So if you want to add a 7.5, you can. Yeah, or you can swap it out for a 7.5 metre hose. So safety's off the gun. Yeah, and what I'll do then, start spraying, yeah? So you'll see these here, and these are called tails, yeah, also known as fingering. Yeah, don't ask me who called it that, but there we go. So that means that the pressure needs to go up. Because this is a primer, it's going to need a bit more pressure than the top coat, yeah? So what I'll do is I'll go straight back up then on the side of the sprayer there. I'm going to get to 1300 psi. Okay, so better, but not gone. The paint is cold, yeah, it's going to take more pressure. And the last thing you want to do is listen to people online. Someone said, well, I was spraying it at 1200 psi. What day was it? What colour was it? How much pigment's gone into it? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things and that so the pressure's right when it sprays right. That's it. It doesn't matter what the pressure is. Obviously, if you're like 3000 psi woodwork, something needs to change. You know what I mean? Like, but like, don't get caught up in what pressure, what tip. It's how's it working, how's it performing, what day is it, what colour is it, yeah? More so. So that is just over it's a 1600 psi there. Yeah, so I reckon if we take it to 18, just about go. Okay, so it tells about the edge now. That's it. But again, the pressure will determine, yeah, how much. Like this is cold, but I get a top coat in there because basically the primers are a lot more thicker because there's more fillers in it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's doing their job. So you're always going to have more. But even at 1800 psi, you can still see it's pretty darn smooth. Yeah. So, and obviously it doesn't smell. There's no smell to it at all, like nothing. So, but you can request to have it smell as well. So if you ask us to do it, we can put in like lavender if you want to. Yeah. Yeah. So you can pick a flavour. So you hope when your current comes in, oh, it smells lovely. Yeah. And it lasts for about a week, and there you go. It is good. It's a good little touch. It does help. But so.
What did you say? You put it on your quotes. What flavour do you want?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't give the client the option, to be honest, mate. Was I even recording? Yes.